Here in Florida, we have a really damp climate. In fact, it's kind of like living in a greenhouse. This isn't just Florida though, it's any coastal region in America or the world. And it's any area that tends to have high humidity. So in America, even in the Midwest, it gets humid during the summer months, in particular the summer months. So, not so much in Utah or Colorado, but most of the rest of or Arizona, but most of the rest of the country has humidity at some point. Dampness can contribute to a wide variety of health issues, and they can range from digestive disorders to brain fog. So if you're a functional medicine person, you're going to call that the gut-brain axis, to energy, to any of a number of chronic diseases. And of course, here in America, back in the 50s, the number of chronic diseases that we tended to have was like 6% of Americans had a chronic disease, and now it's 60%. So we're getting sicker. It's really easy to point to the standard American diet, which is weird, and to say, oh, well, the problem is sugar. And the problem is sugar. We have way too much sugar in our diet. But the thing is that sugar is only one of a number of damp foods. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you a brief history of the evolution of our diets in America and how it is that we've wound up eating a diet that really predisposes us to a number of chronic illnesses. Back in the day, comfort food was like some chicken noodle soup, right? It was something that was really easy on our system. It was relax. It was, eat some gentle foods. Today, comfort food is what, Godiva chocolate. We're talking about sweets. We mean Dunkin' Donuts. We mean something that makes us feel good, and sugar makes us feel good. So foods that contribute to this damp environment, this damp situation in us, are things that that are damp and can clog up the works. So like milk, cheese, cottage cheese, yogurt, all of these things are damp, but so are nut butters. So damp, right? So here we are, and I have to say this is quite a conundrum that America is in, because both our junk food and our health food is damp. So pizza, super damp, lots of cheese on it. But so is our morning yogurt. That's also damp. Ugh. Now it starts getting complicated, but it's about to get more complicated. The solutions aren't difficult, and they're fun, enjoyable, and delicious. So stay tuned, but let's watch what happens. So we know we've got these damp foods, and they cause problems, and they cause inflammation. So we got to stay away from that stuff. So what do? Well, I need to lose some weight. I'm going to eat a salad. Right, America's most popular health food is salad. The problem is that the digestive capacity of the gut depends upon how easy it is for it to digest food. So how much hydrochloric acid it has, which is why we take things that maybe help to increase our hydrochloric acid production or help to increase enzymes so that we digest well. But it also means we should pay attention to what state food is in when we put it into our belly. So if the environment of the stomach is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit and it's a soupy gooey mess, then the foods that are the easiest to digest are about 100 degrees Fahrenheit and they're a soupy gooey mess. Soups are the easiest thing to digest, and that's why historically they were our comfort food. When we go and we have that salad, which is all raw veg, and then we might put some cheese on top of it and maybe some delicious meats or egg, we're eating foods that are uncooked, and that means in order for them to digest in our bellies, they have to be heated up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit and made into a soupy gooey mess. From doing a number of analysis of stool sample tests where we look at what happens in the environment of your gut as it moves through your body system. I have learned that many of us do not chew our foods well enough. So here we have cold food that is very different from 100 degrees Fahrenheit in a soupy gooey mess. And then many of us aren't chewing it very well. And so by the time it lands in our stomachs, we have a lot of work to do. If you're not cooking your food, you have to do the cooking of your food. So the point of this is that both our junk food and our health food cause dampness. And the way that we get around this is that we need to use some herbs that are digestive herbs. And historically, these are the ones that we've cooked with. So if you like ginger or garlic, you're in luck. Those are great herbs to help transform damp. Basil, any of these great cooking herbs, curries, these are great cooking herbs. Not spicy, but just to help transform, just to help increase some stomach acid production and bring some more blood flow to the stomach. Okay, so we talked about the health food being damp and we talked about the junk food being damp. There's two other categories of foods that are also damp, and now you're going to start seeing the predicament that we're really in. So yes, sugar causes dampness, and so that's one of ours. I'm about to say something that a lot of people don't like, but it's very, very, very true, and it's worth observing. And that is that coffee is a really big damp beverage. Historically, in the Chinese apothecary, it was not considered to be a beverage. It was considered to be a medicine that was used in very, very, very small amount and rarely. And then in America, we put things in it that make it delicious. And that's usually some version of cream, whether it's whole cream, whether it's skim milk, whether it's coconut cream. All of these foods are still quite damp. And then, of course, a sweetener. So now we've taken a substance, coffee, that is already damp, and we've made it more damp, and we start our days that way. And the other drink that is also very damp is alcohol. And so we start our days and we end our days. We start our days with coffee to help perk us up, and that's damp. Maybe we have like a quick yogurt smoothie in the morning with a bunch of fruit in it, and that's damp. And then we go and we have a salad for lunch, and that's damp. And then we're tired, so we have pizza for dinner, and that's damp. And then we have beer or a glass of wine with it, and that's damp. And here we are at the end of the day, and we have only had damp foods all day long. And you do this for a few decades, and you get damper and damper, and you get sicker and sicker. And now we start understanding where the statistic of how did America go from the healthiest, fittest, smartest, bravest nation on the planet, give or take, not dissing anybody else, but like we did some awesome stuff, to being one of the sickest and slowest and in a lot of ways weakest in the planet. Our life expectancy is like number 29 in the world. And yet we spend the most money on healthcare of any nation in the first world. It's insane. And maybe it's something as simple as we need to figure out how to take out the damp. So here's a couple of tips. What you can do: chop some vegetables, because vegetables don't cause dampness. A few of them are actually really awesome at transforming it. Like pumpkin is specifically fantastic for transforming dampness. Chop some vegetables. Grains also help. Unfortunately, we did all this weird stuff to gluten in America, so gluten's kind of off the table, but we have these other grains that we can play with from time to time. I'm a big fan of quinoa, and so if you can tolerate, things like quinoa, but having a balanced diet, and then eat your foods as much as possible in a soup form. So even if it's just like adding some of the broth to your delicious stir fry and whatever protein you like in there, and then making it a little bit soupy so that it's just a little bit easier to digest. It's delicious. You're gonna have all your fantastic herbs in there. And by the way, vegetables are really yummy when you just cook them fresh. They don't usually need very much help. So this is your quick advisory on how to take out the damp and I hope it helps. I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark, and that's Good Medicine.